encouragement, and I know where to get it. Let's rise with yourself. Come on, rise. Let's go higher, higher, higher. Rise with yourself. Rise with yourself. Howdy! Yes, this is your girl, Aset.
Are you in that mood because I just played one of your country songs? Is that why you're in that mood?
That's why I'm in that mood. But I'm telling y'all, welcome to Rise with Lisette. Hey, we are so happy to have you here on Rise with Lisette this morning. It's such a beautiful morning. It's a beautiful morning. It's a beautiful morning. I'm telling y'all, in the midst of it all, it's good to be here. It's good to be right here. Welcome to the show. We just want to let you know we got a great show today. We have a great guest. His name is Cello. Don't go, don't even do it. Cello, I got it. Hold on. Pacieiro. Pacieiro? Well, I'm trying. He's going to get me straight when he gets up here, but it's, hey, thanks, Gail, for watching. We got a great show today. I just want you to know that it's good to be here. I've had a great weekend. I've been enjoying my movie. If you haven't seen Lord Do It For Me, go on over there to YouTube. You're already here. And just go to Minkata Productions and check it out. Lord Do It For Me. But I'm telling you, hello,
Lord,
Keon. It's
Lord Do It
so
For Me
catchy.
has 1,300 views, and Lisette watched it 1,299 times.
How'd you know?
I'm just messing with you. No, it's got a
You
lot.
know I had to do
It's
it,
a
but
very good movie.
I love you guys, and Keone, thank you for being here today. All the production team in the background, hey, all that you do, I really appreciate you. But I want to, and the title of the show today is live your purpose. Okay, live your purpose and live on purpose. Do all of that. And you say, what in the world are you talking about? Well, I'm gonna get into that in a minute, but if you're up here and you're into the live chat, thank you for doing the live chatting today. Thank you for doing it, Lorraine. And also share the link with someone and ask them to do the same as well. We got a great show coming. You know what? We have to live on purpose, and I want you to live your purpose. So, what in the world am I talking about? Well, it kind of reminds me of something that Jeremiah told, uh, that God told Jeremiah in the Bible. He said, "Before you was born, I knew you. Before you was even, uh, uh, before you came out of your mother's womb, before um, the seed hit your mother's womb, I knew you before then. I knew you before you and your mama and your dad got jiggy with it. I knew you. I mean, I knew you way back yonder." I knew you way back from the beginning of time. I knew you. And he began to tell him what his purpose was. "I proclaim you to be a leader of the nations or prophet of the nations." In other words, God knows us and we have a purpose on this earth. We didn't just come about, you know, you have a purpose. It kind of reminds me of Superman. That's one of my favorite characters. Superman, he was born on Krypton. Now, John, you have to get me with this one. He was born on Krypton,
I
all
don't
right?
know who John is.
Keone. Keone was born on Krypton, and their planet was being destroyed. So they put the little baby in the little spaceship and sent him to Earth to survive because everybody else obviously was going to get destroyed. But he was like the little the living wonder that they was going to send down here to Earth. He had a great purpose. He didn't know he didn't know what his life was going to was going to be. He didn't know where he was going. He didn't know anything about the previous planet that he came from, his parents or anything. At the time, he knew it nothing. But he grew up knowing that he was different. He knew that something was different about him, that there was something that he did better than others did, or he did something that he could do that came easy for him to do, something that he was passionate about, something that he was different, and he didn't understand why he could do what he could do so well, and others had a hard time doing it. He couldn't figure that out. So he had to eventually, when he got old enough, he had to, and his parents began to tell him, well, you are different. You didn't come the way everybody else. You're a different person. In other words, what is it about you that makes you so different? That makes you so special? That makes you have a skill that you can do without thinking about? Well, how can you make those cakes like that? How do you know how to do this type of song? Write songs? How do you know how to manage and do all these? Well, it just comes natural. I
The
don't know.
story of
I just do it.
what a lot of people miss with Superman, forgetting the superpowers and all that. Superman is also a story of who is your influence. They've done various stories, like if Superman landed in Russia in 1980, if
Wow.
Superman landed with abusive parents, if Superman landed with, but he landed kind of in Kansas. They give the whole Midwestern wholesome family atmosphere of that's how he grew up. Imagine if he grew up. So it's also a story of your circumstances and the conditions that you were grown up in, and what were your influences that you grew up in, because his story could be very different if he had different parents.
I agree. I agree because, and it's amazing because I'm kind of artsy. I do music. I do art. I love to create.
Mhm.
And my father was a creator. I mean, he did art. He did. I mean, he was a painter. He made things, wooden uh, dolls and stuff like that. He was a singer. So only right that I would be channeled into that type of a family, so I would know how to uh, fulfill my purpose. It's powerful. I mean, it's powerful
Yeah,
how that, just like you said, Keone, your family has a lot to do with it, and the
yeah.
surroundings. You know.
And it's such a thing where you don't. I had my grandfather told me once. He said, if you have a young man who grew up in a family where his dad was physically and verbally abusive to his mother, he said one of two things normally happens.
Mm, mm, mm,
He
mm.
becomes an abuser, or he becomes a person that has this profound respect and love and caring of women. It's
Yeah,
never down the middle. And it's such, you don't know what's the particular moment that shifts that kid one way or the other. Influences a lot, but then people still are going to grow into what they're growing. Lorraine has a great question. I'm not going to read it out loud because we're going to save that question for our wonderful guests that'll be coming on cello. Talk about, and I don't want to say coming from nothing as if like, Cello was born in the dirt in the middle of the woods, but he's going to fill you in a lot more about his journey. And he's going to have a very good answer for that question, Lorraine. Are you ready for some cello, Lisette?
I'm ready. Come on, cello. Come
All
on.
right, let's get him on here, the great and wonderful host of the Cello Show, Finding Your Purpose.
Hi,
Wow.
how are you? I'm so honored to be here. I'm so honored. Thank you very, very much. I was honored to have you on my own show,
It was
Cello.
an honor to be on your show, cello. And it's just amazing to have you here today. Audience out there, I just want you to know that cello is a physician and a surgeon slash um, clinical researcher, right? Wow. Now
He
that's
is Captain America.
No, you are. Yeah, I like to call Keone Captain America, and he gets mad, but I think he is because he's the captain of all of us. He's
I would
put in
absolutely
this
say
production company, and he's giving us the opportunities, the platform to really, give our message of of basically we are all trying to inspire others, but why what we do, and then I like to interview people who are chasing their dreams, finding their purposes in life, and see how they are doing. So, in a way, that's also my inspiration. And every day when I get your reels on Instagram, you are my inspiration too. So,
thank you. Thank you. I
absolutely,
really enjoyed doing it, cello. I mean, let's
absolutely,
I, say it again.
absolutely, yeah.
See, me and Cello have two different reactions. He sees your reels and he gets inspired. I see your reels and I'm like, I'm living life wrong. I get all guilty. I have to go in the corner. I'm like,
Yeah,
dang it, Lisette, I was gonna do all the stuff you said not to do today.
yeah,
Oh God. Oh my Lord.
yeah. Be
But
be
you,
careful. Be careful to have your phone or your device on speaker because it's
you
loud,
should.
and that's what we need in the morning.
Oh my God, you guys are awesome. It's amazing. But cello.
Yes.
Now, is cello Pacheliro?
No, you're butchering it. So,
I know.
yeah, yeah. So the Italian way. Let me tell you. I said this many times in my show, but again, so my name is actually Spanish, so it's Marcelo. But everybody, and the last name is Piccirillo, which is not too
Piccirillo.
bad, but the American way is Piccirillo, but it's really Italian. So everybody assumes that I'm Italian, and because I look Italian, I'm third generation Italian. They call me Marcello.
Uh-huh.
And then because of that, so when I was giving 33 years giving presentations, I used to call myself. You can call me Marcelo. You can call me Marcel if you think I'm from Canada or France because of my accent, or you can call me Marcello if you think I'm Italian. So then, for when I started this wonderful journey of acting, modeling, and I needed a more catchy name, so I went to as known as Cello.
Wow. I love it. I absolutely love it. I love your name, Marcello. And you are from
I'm from originally Argentina, South America. Yeah.
powerful. I know that when I found out that you are a surgeon, that just it really blew my mind because I said, "Wow, you are a surgeon." So that means you actually go out. You know how to do those blood vessels and make sure
I
you.
love Lisette.
It's just amazing.
Yeah. You dive right in. To be honest with you, I didn't choose to be a doctor because of a doctor in general. I wanted to be a surgeon. So you're talking about purpose, and I knew exactly what my purpose was career-wise, at least in the beginning, which was to be a surgeon. And because I always enjoyed the art part, the manual part, the smooth, and then also that came with the caveat and the bonus of, if you're doing what you love doing and you're having fun, you can also save lives. So that's the big bonus. But yeah, I always thought that was my original purpose, and I went into it, and it's been, yeah, 30 some years. I'm giving away my age, but
So you loved art as well.
oh
That's
yeah, 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 yeah. And doing so, when I had to choose careers, I was in between, like I said, being a surgeon or being an architect, because I spent, hours and hours of in the drawing. Back in the day, an architect was actually very an artisan. You had to do all the plans, the designs by hand. Nowadays, you have all computers to do that. Similar to AI, with writing songs and writing stuff. But yeah, so I always like that. I always love music. I mean, music is one of the best blessings that among all the blessings that God gave us.
Well, you ended up doing both careers because I'm going to tell you this, and you're not expecting me to say this. You are an architect because I've been around your family and you built one of the most stable families. I've been around a lot of families in my day, whether that's personal family or through when I was a counselor, even when I started coaching talent. I've seen a lot of different families, and you have architectured and built one of the most stable and wonderful families I've ever seen personally. So you still did your job as an architect. Just want to
Thank
let you
you.
know that.
You know how much I appreciate that. But I can't.
I'm sorry, Gail. Gail was clapping. Okay, so
No, but I cannot take credit, all the credit for it. I have very good role models in my
mhm,
parents, and luckily, or not luckily, because it's not all luck. The one above sends
mhm.
everything. My wife also had
Wonderful.
similar upbringing. So
It's interesting because I was thinking about when you said, that you know, um, that you couldn't decide, whether you wanted to go into the architect or into the medical field. It made me how you can do both in the medical field. I thought about Leonardo da Vinci. How he's this renowned artist. I love his work, and how he actually studied anatomical um,
absolutely, yeah.
dissections and stuff, so he can better, present his art. And so I can understand why it would kind of like flow together. How you studied it. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
let me you're talking about anatomy, and I was so
Yes.
into both that the first year of medical school in Argentina is the whole year you study anatomy,
Oh,
and you have like these big books, the Testuts, the Rouvier, the history of medicine there. Well, in all the topics in the body, I actually made my own book by drawing. So when I was studying, you work your memory. The more senses you involve, the more
mhm.
memory you're gonna have. When they say, "Oh, I have
Yes.
picture memory" or anything else. So I was involving, not only my eyes, not only what talking about it myself. So you're reading, but reading out loud. So you also involve your ears, but I was also involving my drawing, my hands, and all that.
This is good because I took anatomy a little bit in nursing school, and I'm telling you, it's not a very easy class to master. To know every little notch and every little crack and all this other stuff. That's some hard stuff.
You,
And you definitely have to have a good memory. But it just amazes me, to be able to master it to the point that you can operate on people and to you're awesome. I mean,
thank
that's
you,
just
thank you. But master is a very big word. So the purpose
hmm
is to master it. And if
wow.
you're smart enough to know that you will never reach that,
Ain't that
but the
something?
the process of trying to get to the master, probably you could earn it when you're gone. I love speeches, and without going too long, but this by Matthew McConaughey when he gets his Oscar and he says, "Who's your idol?" And he says, "My idol is me in 10 years." So
Hmm.
10 years later, he goes and he says, "Okay, so now your idol, not even close. My idol is me in another 20 years." So basically, what he's saying is that the purpose in your life is, yeah, number one, to see, what talents you have or what things you have in order to reach others. Because again, reaching something for myself, it's a kind of a temporary satisfaction, but being able to reach it, but just for the purpose of inspiring others, That's infinite. All right. So, but if you know what your talents are, or what your platform, what your message is, trying to find that and then trying to be better every day at what you're choosing to do. And sometimes, you know, responding to that question on how you find my purpose, uh, that's the challenge and the beauty of it is that sometimes you go in one way and you say, "Oh, well, maybe this is not." Well, don't quit too fast. Just keep going, keep trying, and then you know you'll eventually find it. And if not, you find what you don't want to do.
One of your advice, and I know we give this to people when trying to find your purposes, surround yourself with like-minded people and people who will encourage what you're trying to do instead of discourage what you're trying to do. A lot of times when people say you can't do something or accomplish something, let's be fair. Sometimes they're hating, but the ones who aren't hating, sometimes it's coming from a place of caring, but sometimes it's projected. They don't see themselves doing that, so they tell you you can't do it. Finding your purpose also means you cannot turn around every time a roadblock comes up. Every time a roadblock comes up, you can't just say, you know what, this wasn't supposed to happen, and kind of check out on your purpose. You know.
Yeah, and actually, it's in a way it's re-emphasizing whether you're all in with that purpose. Because if everything was easy and you said, okay, my purpose is to be a guitar player, and all of a sudden you pick up a guitar and all the chords start coming naturally, and you don't have problems, you don't have pain in
Mhm.
your fingers before you develop your calluses. So then you know and then you don't really get the value of the effort in doing it. Now I always encourage not to give up very very easily. Now when you become kind of stubborn of something that the world is giving you the signal of this is not it. All right, so it gets to a point. Okay, maybe this is in general what I want to do, but maybe
Mhm.
it's not exactly.
It is, and you know what? Also, I'm going to make sure I don't want to leave out anybody here. Um, we also talk about, because this show has a lot of its inspiration, most of its inspiration that comes from God, because Lisette is Christian, you too as well, and me too as well, Cello. But those of you who are out there or who are not Christian, you still follow the same path. Whatever your
Yeah,
faith is, you dive into that and you use that as motivation to find your purpose. And those of you who may not be of any particular faith, it still has the same rules that apply. I don't care if you are Christian, Jewish, Muslim, or atheist. If you don't surround yourself with like minded people and people who have your best interest, you're not going to find that purpose, and you're going to find life a lot harder than it needs to be.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I like to say, obviously, to me is one and only
Yeah.
God, but to other people, your God, which could mean anything, you're spiritual, but definitely, yeah, I completely agree with that.
And it helps everybody around you. So let's talk about, so what were some of the hurdles that you ran into when you were finding your purpose, and how did you get through those hurdles?
Well, like you said, it wasn't easy in the beginning, but again, I wasn't born with a silver spoon, but I wasn't poor, poor, poor. I was just middle class and things like that. But one thing about my beautiful original country of Argentina is that they've been struggling for, I would say, 80 years
Mhm.
economically, and that affected really the future of people. So the big hurdle was that I always had this ambition of, you know, being the better version of myself, whether it was as a doctor or as a father, whatever it was. And I found that the country was now providing me with the opportunities that I could, that I needed. So the hurdles were the first big hurdle was to what do we do? And it was to sacrifice leaving our family, our friends, and everything going for a better future, mostly for our kids, but not knowing if that was going to happen. So, leaving Argentina and coming to this beautiful country 27 years ago, with all everything, even though we were physicians, both my wife and I, but we had to start all over again.
Mm,
So and start from the bottom. And that was a very humbling experience because one thing that um, doctors have is a very, I mean, because society and in a way, society and your job puts you, higher because you had to be making decisions. So that affects your ego and you feel like you're more
mhm.
than you really are. So it was a very humbling experience for us to having to start from bottom. No problem in that. And then, sometimes not finding the opportunities and trying to make our way into it, and then, like I always like to say, the sky's the limit. So you got to keep trying, trying, trying.
And you know what else is kind of cool? So you have been a surgeon for many, many, many moons. I know you're getting to the point where you're going to retire. And what are we always thinking about? Well, what am I going to do in retirement? And then what happens? You know, this, this happens.
Absolutely,
So that-
absolutely.
so
Which,
that-
which, which, in a way, these are the things that, again, in the finding your purpose, you have to prioritize, right? Oh, you're
Mhm.
talking about this
Yeah,
specifically.
you
Oh,
become a
yeah.
grandpa. You're like, what am I
Yes.
going to do? I'm retiring. I'm not 25 anymore. My kids are grown. And then all of a sudden, grandpa.
Yes, absolutely. So, yeah, it's very what Lisette was talking about in the beginning about that Jeremiah
Mhm.
reference. Yes, as of a week ago, right now, actually, yeah, or no, in about 20, 30 minutes, I became first time grandpa. And oh, it's amazing. That picture that you see is, yeah, he was a few hours old. And even though you can't see much of my face because of my hair and my facial hair that I just got rid of, but
Mhm.
yeah, you can see my soul through in that picture.
So it's another one to go ahead and inspire, right?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and again, inspiring by example, because if you're there's so many people in this world that inspire others, but they're not doing what they preach.
Uh-huh.
It's so much easier to do what you basically, that have others seeing you and get inspired by what they're seeing in you and not what you're talking to them about. That's at least is my point of view on this.
One of the biggest important thing that you said in there, well, not the biggest, but one important thing that you said in there was inspire by example. And I know a lot of us that watch this show, except for Ken, are I always got to dig. I got to find a way to dig at Ken every show. Everybody but Ken is a little older on here, and we all come from the age of not all of us exactly, but they know what I'm talking about. The age of you were told to do things, but you didn't watch people that were telling you to do it a certain way actually doing it. It's like, do
Yes.
as I say, not as I do, right?
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
said so. And you wouldn't actually see them do it by example. And so when you say that, it makes it so pertinent to understand you've got to do it by example. Just don't tell someone how to do something. Be that example. And I think that goes with anything in life, right? If you don't have your finances together, don't lecture me on finances. If you know, um,
Yeah,
and
one of the important things in life is if you want to spread a message or inspire is to have credibility in doing so. And the credibility comes by others watching, what you're doing or what you're not doing. So that's the principle in my view of inspiring others. Absolutely.
so, Cello, tell us about was there any time during your career as a surgeon where I don't know, maybe something was happening in the environment, it was you were being overwhelmed, and it became a pressure situation to where you were thinking of either changing career paths or stopping what you're doing. That may have never happened, but was there any part where you were like questioning your decision?
To be honest with you, no. But I have a situation that was,
Let's set back
uh,
up.
sorry.
Keep going, Cello.
Oh,
You're good.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I was first year resident, and I spent 48 hours
Let's
on
set back
call,
up.
on duty. So, it was the whole Saturday in the hospital, the whole Sunday, pretty much not sleeping. And then on Monday, I had my
You're on,
duties
Lisette.
as a resident. And then what happened at night when I was driving back home, I fell asleep.
Oof.
And thank God it was late, very late, like 11 p.m. at night. So there
Mhm.
was not much traffic in this avenue. And then I ended up to the side of a big bridge. And then yeah, the car was totaled. So
Oof.
so again, I never regretted. I never said, "Oh, okay, well, God spared me with saved my life. I shouldn't be doing this anymore." It was just a matter of, I try not to. If I was staying another, kind of 48 hours on duty, just stay and sleep at the hospital and don't go back home, something like that. But yeah, it was tough.
Oof.
Yeah,
So we had to. What we had to do? We had to. Whew.
yeah.
Lisette, welcome back, guys. We had a little technical difficulty. Sorry that you had to look at my mug for about 15 minutes, but Lisette's back. But you know how we're gonna get Lisette back into her groove? Guess how we're gonna get you back into your groove, Lisette? We're gonna
How?
premiere, and we'll have Cello watch it with us. We're gonna premiere one of our new segments, which is everybody's favorite thing to talk about, which is Lisette's dining tragic stories. So let's get into that. Let's cue it. One.
Yes, this is my story. I mean, hey, it was very interesting, but it just so happened that I have a very good dining room story. All right. For a change, I mean, I know it's not like me, but it's very good for a change. I went to this restaurant and I'm telling you, it was very pleasant. The bathrooms was clean. I mean, you didn't see paper towels all over the floor. No one had flushed the toilet in God knows how long, and it had nice smell and everything. It was really, really nice. I mean, and then we was, seated, we didn't have to wait a long time to be seated, and the food came out so hot. I mean, it was like, wow. I mean, I didn't know how to act. I mean, it was steamy, I mean, you could see the smoke coming from the food. I said, wow, that's really good. I'm saying it's not like lukewarm or warm, or I'm saying it was hot. And the waitress was very polite and pleasant. And I'm saying like, "Oh, am I on the same planet? Maybe I'm on Krypton. I don't know what's going on. But I thought it was absolutely crazy. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying like, wow, I got a chance to meet the manager, and he came over and said, "Is everything all right?" I said, "Yes, everything is fine. Thank you." And it was just awesome. Awesome to be uh, in a food restaurant, really like a food chain, really, and everything went very well. I thought it was very nice, and it was a pleasant day, But I got some more horror stories for you, but this one is not horror. This was really good. This was a good story, and I loved it, And I will say it was the Red Lobster, but it was really nice. It was really nice.
Oh my god! I don't know who this Keone Productions person in the chat is, but he said, we like the bad stories better."
Me too.
It's like the news
Uh,
channel, like the
we
news
like the
channel. They
bad.
have to put, bad news to
No,
have
Cello,
to.
if you've never heard one of Lisette's terrible dining room stories, they're always insanely, they're funny and they're crazy. And you're just like, what? It's so bad that when she's on other shows that we have, people bring it up, especially Mark, right? Oh my god! But she doesn't
It
tell
can
the
be a
restaurant when it's
nightmare.
the bad ones. Yeah, Gail. She does not. She listen, and I support her. She will not tell you the restaurant if it's bad. She had a good experience, so she said the Red Lobster. Uh, so she said the Red Lobster. Okay.
It was nice. It really was nice. I was surprised. I said, well, maybe the dials are changing on me. I don't know. No, but it was so funny. I mean, we was like, my husband and I was like strangers, like, wow, what happened? We actually had a good experience because
I, I,
when I go to a restaurant, it's funny because when I go, I give all the restaurants 100 points. So everybody gets 100 points when I go to every restaurant, every
I
every
know,
cafe,
I,
whatever.
I know what
And then I
happened.
deduct the points.
And when she leaves, they have 3 points. But go ahead, Cello.
No, I know what happened is that you're becoming so popular in the area that, the restaurants say, "Oh, here she comes. Let's, let's change the reputation of the restaurant business." So, they're all aware of.
Cello, you're a pretty positive person. It takes a lot to get you annoyed. Is there something that can happen in a dining experience that makes Cello not be Cello?
Not from the people working there, but
Mhm,
from, I really, I wouldn't say hate because it's a
mhm.
harsh word, but highly dislike the lack of respect.
Oh yeah,
So, when you go, and this is exceeds the just a restaurant,
yeah, yeah.
anywhere, um, and
Grocery
it's
stores, airport, anything with customer service. Customers have gotten out of hand. That guy who created the "customers always right" slogan, he did not see, 2010 on in his vision.
yeah,
Cause oof,
definitely, yeah, and it got to a point these days that people are abusing that. So I'm not gonna. This is a different business. It's like a gym, right?
mhm,
And they have this policy. You may know at the end what kind of chain it is, but they have this policy that if somebody is looking at somebody with judgment, so then that person could go to the front desk and say, and then a siren will go off, and you're gonna be, shamed into. Now, the problem with that is how do you judge when you're looking judgmental? I could
you-
be looking at you, and then if you're having a bad day, you say, "Oh, that person, Cello, look at me, judging me." And there you go. And you have no defense whatsoever because it's not like there's a tape. Oh, look, yeah, he's looking mean or whatever. And so yeah, so you have no defense, and people are abusing the
I know
facility.
the chain you're talking about. And the
Yes.
last time I worked out there, there was this kid who was about, I want to say 5'7", was looked like he was about 105 pounds.
Yeah.
And he was, he was trying to lift weights and do, and his technique was so bad, he was going to hurt himself. So I was looking at him for a second and I walked over and I said, "Hey, when you do those lifts like that, you need to curve your back. You need to put a curve in your back when you're picking it up from the ground and use your knees, like simple things that you're taught. Use your knees, not your back."
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Lord, I had about 10 people on me
And you were trying to help.
criticizing this young man and I was like, I didn't even come over there mean. I was like, "Hey, let me show you something. You need." Oh my God. I said, "Okay, that's cool. I won't be coming back here."
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, you're absolutely right, and you're trying to help.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm that type of people that because also I've been in the fitness world
Mhm.
like you, and everything else. So yeah, when you see somebody that's going to hurt him or herself, you're trying to help, when they're not efficient in what they're doing. Oh, God forbid that,
Yeah.
you're taking the wrong way.
Well, I used to be a personal trainer, Cello. You're more in the fitness than I am now. I need to get back. I was on the phone with my financial advisor the other day and
Yeah.
I started breathing hard. He said, "What did you just do to get out of shape?" I said, "I went to the closet and put my shirt on." He said, "We need to make some life changes, Keone. Why are you winded?"
That's funny. That's funny. I mean, I need to get in shape too, and I'm telling you, I have someone up here that is a vegan. I mean, he does all vegan. Is it Ken? I don't know if you're
Who?
still up
Ken?
here, Ken.
Oh, Ken eats bacon. He just doesn't tell y'all.
He's all. I mean, he's vegan. He's what is it? What's
Uh,
something else he does? I
I
mean, he's
didn't.
all into it.
I didn't know
And
he
even
was vegan, but now that explains a lot. Now I
I,
understand, and that explains a lot. Thank you.
and even I eat fish. I don't eat the other stuff. I don't eat chicken and beef and all the bacon and all that stuff I really love. I don't eat any of that anymore.
I don't care what the source is, but you need to get enough protein. And that's
True.
what my concern with vegans, because that's the problem. Where do you get? Yeah, you get from soy, you get from whey. Well, not even whey. It's not big. I don't know, but yeah, it's just basically it's having a balance.
Okay.
Balance is everything.
They have mastered a lot of them. Like I have a personal trainer friend who's vegan, and whew, the body on her, muscular and strength wise, is insane. But she does a lot. Like the amounts of money she spends, I can't. I'll just go get a pack of bacon for $2. But
That's the other thing. Yeah.
I was a vegetarian for actually a year and a half. I was a vegetarian, so I've been through processes like that. I'll never be a vegetarian again. I have cut down my meat significantly since then. Like I don't eat the giant steaks 3 times a week like I used to anymore. That's like a
Okay.
treat for me every once in a while. I'm learning to do smaller quantities of meat, but I'm just telling you, if you're making some maple wood bacon in the air fryer and I walk in, you can vegan hell. I'm eating that thing because that smell just says, "Eat me."
But like everything, I would encourage everybody to try, either vegetarian, vegan for a little bit, because then you could potentially value more what you were eating before,
I eat
So
chickpeas. You're gonna pick chickpeas over bacon. Get out of my quit. Ken, turn your laptop off. Stop watching.
My God.
I wish my mama would have brought in my hungry behind. We grew up poor. I wish she would have brought a bowl of chickpeas in there. We would have revolted.
organic.
Oh God, stop it.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
that was the
interesting.
that was the
Interesting.
problem when I was vegetarian. It wasn't that I wasn't. I felt better when I was vegetarian. I felt healthier, but I was always friggin' hungry. I ate like 12 times a day when I was a vegetarian.
Well, the other thing also is that you got to be more creative because you're replacing body's natural. I mean, unless you were raised up vegetarian or vegan, you were raised up eating all the other stuff. So
Yeah.
now you got to replace and you got to be more creative.
Yeah, it always trips me out when I'm at a restaurant and I hear a parent go, "Oh, he can only eat this. He's vegan." And I look and I'm like, "He's 4. How did he make that decision?"
Yeah.
Oh,
But I feel better since I've gotten off of, really, the reason why I got off, doing a whole lot of meats is because I saw Dr. Pimple Popper did pop some bumps. And I'm telling you, and when she got through popping the bumps and it looked like chicken, and cottage cheese, I said, "Ugh, I don't want it. I don't want any more meat. I don't want any more. I don't want."
Joe, that segues with me into a question for you, since you've been a doctor and a surgeon. Um, and I know you don't disparage other doctors and things like that. Or you may, I don't know. I've never heard you do it. When you're seeing all of these things on commercials and doctors say this and doctor prescribe and all of that, and people run out and just start doing it without doing any research, because I saw a research that we're the only country, one of the only countries in the world that do this, where we have pharmaceutical pills and doctor ads. In a lot of countries, they don't do that. You won't find them on billboards. You won't find them on commercials. How do you feel about when you're seeing things like Dr. Pimple Popper or Dr. Oz saying, "You need more blueberries," and then 2 months later saying, "No blueberries"?
Well, first of all, I agree with you. I don't understand how pharmaceutical companies, and I've been in the pharmaceutical research industry for 28 years, but how they advertise to consumers when the consumers need to have prescription for it. So the normal thing would be to advertise it to whoever is going to prescribe that. So that's number one. But number two, yeah, you gotta take with the grain of salt all the opinions about Dr. Oz and Dr. D, Dr. A, Dr. B, Dr. C, because no, because yeah, everything, medicine in general is statistics, right? So let's say blood pressure 120 over 80. Why is that? Well, because in, let's say, 100 people, about 70 to 80% of those, 70 to 80, have that range. But you could
Mhm.
be in the outlier and you could be,
Oh,
130 over 90, and you could be normal blood pressure, or you can be lower. So what I'm trying to say here is that whenever you have massive opinions about medications or treatments, that may not apply to you in particular. So it's okay to listen to it, do your own research, because it's not. I wish I had all these tools for doing research and learning things that we didn't have back in the day. But then the phrase, the cliche, go and ask your doctor about it, is because the doctor, your doctor, has access to your medical information.
Yeah.
So that decision should be made by your doctor knowing all that, and not by you just watching an advertising or watching one of these medical
They
shows.
always squeeze that part in the end. At the end, after they say everything, they go, "Please consult your physician."
Yeah, yeah. And if it was in printing, it would be the very fine print that you cannot read.
So
Yeah,
when you start taking that stuff and you go, but it said, yeah, but we also said to go ask your doctor.
yeah.
I mean, if you guys only knew the abomination that's going on over here in this.
So Lisette, so let's clue everybody in, because this ain't NBC. So Lisette was on her computer when I. That's the reason why I jumped on live, and her electricity went out.
And I
And
just
so
pay the bill now.
that's she did pay the bill. But sometimes she doesn't pay the bill because Ken calls and he needs $300 for this, $200 for that. So sometimes she can't get the bills paid. But anywho, her electricity went out, and so she jumped on her phone. So for about 10 minutes, she couldn't get her phone angle together. And so I'm trying to get her phone angle together, but Cello can hear me. So that's why Cello was like, "What?" And I'm like, "No, just keep going."
Sorry.
And then and now she's here, and it's just, but it's perfect. I listen. Nope, she's gone again. I personally love when
Oh,
Lisette is a. I personally love when you're a train wreck. It makes it so much more entertaining. I don't like it when you're not a train wreck. It's not fun.
Hey, listen, Lisette, one time during my show, we were doing an interview to my daughters.
Oh yeah.
So we were talking about, how they get inspired, and they were all serious talking about me, raising them. All of a sudden, my internet went down. So he took advantage of that, and he started asking them how it was when they were dating and things like that,
I saw that show. I
Yeah,
saw it.
yeah. So, yeah.
His oldest daughter had the best answer. I said, "How did Cello treat your boyfriend?" She said, "He wouldn't do anything. He would look at them, and he knows me. He'd be like, 'I'm not even going to talk to this one. He's not going to make it.'" Like he knew who wasn't going to make it and who was. So he didn't even bother to go through a whole watch this storyline. He just looked at him and said, "I know my daughter, and he's not going to make it. So I'm not even going to
Yeah,
waste
yeah.
my energy."
Has no chance.
I think it was awesome because you said something about on that particular show. You
Mm.
said something about why. It's important to ask why. Why you want to why you want to do something. What is your purpose behind, and then how you gonna make this happen? I mean, I just thought,
Right.
there was someone that Lorraine asked a question about, how do I find my purpose? Would you like to tackle that?
He,
Yeah, we talked a little bit when you were down, but yeah,
Oh,
definitely. And no, no, that's all right. But on the topic of on your kids, and that particular one, the important is that yeah, they will come out one day, wake up and say, okay, I want to be a ballerina. And then the next day, I want to be a guitar player. And the next day, I want to do gymnastics. And the following day, I want to play basketball. Yeah, so that's great, but you need to really challenge them in the sense not to quit the idea, but to be really firm in what is it that you want to do. And so, number one, they value that, okay, I want to do that. So my parents are going to be invested in that. And then I got to put the effort and all those principles. And then it could be that they try for a little bit and then they say, no, this is not for me. And that is actually responding to the question of finding your purpose. So you may feel like you have a special talent or a special inclination to do things, and then, the only way to find out is to try it. But try respectfully. Try it, all in for it. And then it may be that that's the thing, or it may be that that is not the thing for you. But there's no other way than to try it, but try it wholeheartedly. You know, that
that's
was my
awesome.
principle.
That is awesome. Even getting right back to Superman, once he found why he was so what made him different, he channeled that difference in him from other human beings, and he used it to help people. So you're different for a reason. I mean, you have a special talent or gift for a reason to help this world. That's mainly what Superman did. He used his gifts and talents to help the world. So
Yeah.
you're different like that for a reason.
Yeah, and the interesting part is also the process of finding out, and then that person realizing the impact that could have in others and the responsibility of actually doing that. I've been so hooked up with this show called The Chosen, which is the life
Hmm.
of Jesus.
Yes.
And the way I love it, I'm fascinated with is the way they portray Jesus, the most human way. And
Hmm.
In regards to what we're talking about, he knew from the womb, like the Jeremiah,
Yeah.
what he was, the purpose of him and why the reason for being in on earth. But it's so nice to see how he's discovering, you
Yes.
know, and he feels, this is not my time when he does the first miracle because his mom asks him to do, but no, I'm not prepared. And then he struggles,
Right.
it's fascinating.
It
That's a
is.
little bit, but I don't want to compare ourselves with him, but in a
Yes.
way describes our struggles in
Yes.
finding, when you
Yes.
find this purpose of this channel and this platform to spread this message, I'm sure sometimes, you feel the responsibility of, okay, the next show is going to be even better because I need to
Mm-hmm.
spread this word and help
Yes.
others. So you feel the responsibility, the challenge, and that's what make you, keep going.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Have even in your career, have you as you embarked upon your journey of being a surgeon and a doctor, did you feel like you had obstacles in front of you that was trying to keep you from completing that? Like things didn't always come as swell and like this, that you had some hard times, um, fulfilling
Oh
those
yeah, definitely. And that's the beauty of that means that you're moving forward.
hmm
If you don't have obstacles and things like that, there's also another quote that I love is that this is about, I think it was Denzel Washington that says, if the devil is not coming to you and tempting you, that means that you're part of them, you
You
know?
know,
That's awesome.
it's funny what you just said because we're always quoting Denzel. They asked I forgot which actor it was. He was doing an interview and they said, "You've never gotten into trouble." He said, "Because I leave when Denzel Washington." He's like, Denzel goes to all the Hollywood parties. He goes to the parties, but there's a certain time he leaves, and when I see him leaving, I leave, and I know I'm not gonna get into any trouble because I leave when Denzel leaves.
That's good. That's awesome. That is awesome. A plan. You got to have a plan to survive.
Yeah, I
And
think some people. I'm sorry to cut you off the set. We
no,
started
go
talking.
ahead. Go ahead.
I think some people sometimes, and you two tell me if I'm wrong, hear it the wrong way. Like some people hear that as, "Oh, I can't have any fun." Every time we talk about this and God, and I can't have any. No, it's not saying you can't have any fun. Live your life, have fun, but you have to understand there's certain consequences to certain fun,
For
and you can't
sure.
blame it on anybody. But it's not meaning you have to have this dull, boring existence and you can't have any fun. And I think a lot of people hear it as that, you know.
Yeah, and also the same way that we say find your purpose,
Hmm.
find your fun. Don't go with the crowd, don't
Yeah.
go with what others define as having fun, find your fun.
Yeah, because
And
your fun might not be my fun, but that doesn't make you
Don't you
any
enjoy?
less. Oh, there she goes.
yeah.
She scared the crap out of me. It doesn't mean that you're going to be any less of a person because you enjoy fun differently than I am. At the end of the day, because we're going to wrap up, at the end of the day, and then I'm going to shut up because it's the last thing I'm going to say today. At the end of the day, we only get to do this one time, right?
There you go.
We only get, and I am not going to be one to be unhappy because I'm trying to live the way everyone else around me is telling me to live if it's not making me enjoy living. And you take that for what it's worth. That's just me, my opinion, because I only get to do this one time. And I'm learning to do that a lot more now than I have in the past.
Yeah, and to that, the other quote is you live two lives. The
Mhm.
second one starts when you find out that you live only once.
Ah,
Mm, 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 mm.
Hmm.
Mm, That's powerful,
Yeah, and
y'all.
this is my last thought on purpose. Uh, there's
Mm,
not one only purpose in your life. So, in other words, if I decided to be a surgeon, that's it. That's the limit of my quote. No, Life changes, you change as you grow older and you're more mature. So things that you probably had to leave behind to fulfill that main purpose can come back to you later in life at any time. There's never a time that you say, oh no, I'm too old for that. No, no, and no. You're probably slower to learn things, but that doesn't stop you from, hey, I wanted to be an actor. Look at I am now. I wanted to be a coach. I always loved to coach. That's what I'm doing. I always wanted to have a show of doing this. We both are. So
Mhm.
there's never a time in life that even though you fulfill that main purpose, to keep finding other purposes and adjusting your life for it.
Cello says you're never too old, which is great. That means when I'm 80, I can date a 20-year-old. Thank you, Cello. I'm glad you approve. But Cello, where can they find you? Where can they find your show, and what is your show?
Okay, my show is called The Cello Show. It's also found if you subscribe to this same channel, Kiani Productions. By the way, thank you for that platform. And it's on YouTube and it's on Rumble.
Mhm.
Just go to Kiani Productions, subscribe, and then look for The Cello Show. We have about 16, 17, 18 episodes that
Yeah, we
go
can.
from a variety of topics. One is, for example, interviewing a couple that left, also a surgeon left everything behind, got in a boat, and they're sailing the world. They've been like 3, 4 months in the French Polynesia. By the way, you can watch their YouTube channel as well. Others is we have 2 episodes great about mentors. That's the other thing. You cannot do it by yourself. Surround yourself with mentors, people who will motivate you sometimes by telling you, no, no, this is not the right way, or you have to put more effort into it. The first reaction is say, wow, why would you say that?
We've
Right?
got a
Yeah,
got a
like
teacher of the year. We've got a mental
yeah,
health specialist that we talked to. We've got
yes,
Lisette with like the world renowned chef that we talked to.
yes,
Cello's family.
Yes.
So many different types of interview with so many. We have a segment we just started doing with his dad. His dad is, how old is your dad, Cello?
90, 90.
90. And he is laying down 90-year experience in words of wisdom that would help anybody.
Wow.
So really good segment with Coco.
Yeah,
Really good segment with that. So on the Keone Productions on YouTube and Instagram, on Rumble, it's Keone TV. Go ahead and find those episodes to watch. The Cello Show, very motivational and always a good show to do with him.
This is awesome. I mean, I really appreciate you coming, Cello. I mean, and I really enjoy your show. So please don't forget to go and support him on his shows. I mean, thank you, Kiani. And you know what? To you out there, just remember that you can live your purpose and you can live on purpose. So whatever, if you know what your purpose is, do it. I mean, don't not do it. What if Superman wouldn't have been Superman and Jesus wouldn't have been himself? I mean, and people that wouldn't have been themselves and did what their purpose is. What would have happened? We have got to live on purpose, live our purpose, and live your purpose. All right? And we love you. You have a great day. And thank you so much.
the
Oh, I'm
sky's the
sorry.
limit.
Lorraine, to answer your question, I'm sorry, guys. Lorraine, to answer your question, what time you have to subscribe to the channel and hit the notifications? Cello Show comes on at various times depending on the guests that we're having. So to catch them, or watch the Instagram because we're going to start posting more when certain shows are coming up. Thank you so much. Let's hit that sky's the limit one more
The
time.
grandbaby for me.